Welcome to Reel Time Florida Sportsman. This week we're down in the Everglades National Park. We're doing some fishing and camping. It's time to find the shortest route to the hottest bite. We scan the Florida sportsman community looking for the best fishing reports and travel to make Reel Anglers our local guides. Give me some of that! Together we let you in on secret spots and hometown moves. That's what I'm talking about!
Oh yeah, she's done for now.
This week we headed down to the Everglades. We left out of the Chokoloskee Island RV Park and headed into the national park for a couple days of fishing and camping.
Look at the size of that grouper, dude.
Red, big red.
Big old red.
Look at the colors. All coming up on Reel Time Florida Sportsman. I made the drive down to Chokoloskee and met up with Eduardo, this week's guest host. Our plan was to camp. We had a lot of gear. We loaded up the boat, the camera boat, and left out of the Chokoloskee Island RV Park, headed south out into the Gulf. This isn't our first trip down to the Everglades for Reel Time. You know, we've done a trip down here before and actually a camping trip as well. So we're kind of knew what to expect. We usually pick the winter time to do it because of bugs, so we had perfect timing. We're sitting here in the middle of December. The weather's cool, you know, and the fishing is supposed to be pretty good this time of the year. All right, Eduardo Rumbos. Just went out of Chokoloskee, sitting down here in the Everglades National Park. What do you got planned?
Hey, we're gonna be heading offshore. We're gonna hit some of these wrecks anywhere from 6 to 15 miles offshore. We're gonna see if we can, catch some cobias, permit, Goliath grouper, and also some gag groupers.
Not too far of a run. We're sitting here. It's the middle of December. Our plan is to camp out tonight. We stopped at the ranger station. We got some permits. We're gonna camp out. Beautiful temperatures for it. This is the time of year to do it. The bugs are down, it's cooler temperatures, so go out, catch some fish, go set up tent, stay the night, maybe get some more fishing in tomorrow. So it's the perfect time of year to get down here and do this.
Of course.
Let's get out and do it.
Let's go.
You know, the Everglades is such a beautiful place. You know, we're just probably an hour out of Miami, and it's like another world. It's like old Florida. You know, this is the third largest national park in the lower 48. It's just a beautiful ecosystem, you know, the bird life, the water life, the fishing, it's just absolutely incredible. The Everglades is probably known more for its inshore fishery, the backcountry, 10,000 islands, mangrove shorelines, you know, snook and redfish. Eduardo was on a little different bite though. You know, he'd been fishing on the wrecks, you know, 10, 15 miles offshore, and that's really what our plan was. Run out there, he's been catching cobia, permit, grouper, so our plan was to run out offshore and see what the wrecks were holding. So we pull up to this first spot, and there's a boat on the spot, you know, and I dropped the trolling motor, and I'm probably 100 yards off this spot. We still want to fish it. I'm not even thinking I'm close enough to even catch a fish. I make one cast, nobody's even ready, the cameramen aren't even ready. I make one cast, a couple of bumps of the jig, and I get a solid hookup. Literally pulled up, first cast, weren't even set up, didn't even have the mics on. And I threw a jig in there, just got thumped. A flare hawk with a rubber worm on it.
Wow.
Dude, this is a stud. I don't want him to get me in the wreck. What's normally out here on these wrecks?
There's usually a lot of cobia. We get some permit. We get some gag grouper, Goliath grouper, barracudas, big old jacks. There's all kind of fish out here, George.
When I'm not kidding you, we came out here, we weren't even gonna set up because there's another boat here. We gave him plenty of room. I made one cast.
With the jig.
With the jig. Eduardo was telling me, you know, the big possibility of catching a cobia. So I was at home, I'm like, God, what can I tie on? You know, on the East Coast, this is all we throw at them. These jigs. So I figured I'll just tie a jig on.
It's acting like a big cobia, George.
If it is, it's a stud. Because I can't even turn the thing.
This segment brought to you by Yo Zuri, fish the best.
You know, hearing these stories from Eduardo, I'm thinking cobia. You know, at home, I tied on a jig thinking that's what I'm primarily going to be targeting. And it's starting to feel like a cobia at first, you know, kind of keep it staying down on the bottom. But then, you know, something's not feeling quite right. This is a big fish. but I don't know. I'm hoping it's a cobia, but I don't think so.
Oh,
Shark? If that's a cobia, it's a big one.
I think it's a grouper.
Big Goliath.
Big Goliath grouper.
Ate a flare hawk. Oh my God. All right, so you know what? Now we know Goliaths will eat jigs. I'll tell you what though, you put this battle two to the test. Oh, 50-pound spider wire on a spinning rod. Look at this thing. Oh.
Look at the size of that grouper, dude.
You can catch him on a spinning rod on a jig.
Wow. Oh my God.
Come on, dude. Why, you don't like me, do you? We just met and you don't like me. Oh, let's try to boat him. Oh my goodness. All right, here he is, Edward.
There you go.
See if you can get him for me.
All right, let me see if I can get your jig back, George.
So where are we sitting exactly?
We're sitting
We're
about
like 10 miles?
Yep.
10 miles offshore, outside of Chuckaluski. Probably known more for its inshore fishery. A lot of wrecks out here. We're sitting out here on a wreck. This was the first cast of the morning. You said you kind of grew up on doing the inshore stuff, went offshore, bit the bug by catching stuff like this. It's not hard to imagine why you want to keep coming back out here. What a stud. There you go. Woo! Wow, I don't want to do that again. That was cool, but on a spinning rod. First cast, 6,000 barrel, 50-pound braid. Look what it did to the hook. That was the weak point in this equation. Wow. We bounced around to another wreck, but things just weren't happening. You know, we had a recent cold front, water temperatures were in the mid-60s, the cobia weren't around, the permit weren't around, nothing was even responding to our chum bags. What do you think, man? Call it?
Yeah, I think we
Head
should.
in? Try something a little different?
Yeah.
If not, we hit the campsite early.
No problem. Let's go.
We decided to pack things up, head on in, head over to our island that we were planning on camping on, and set up for the evening. So we pull into the island, we get the tent set up, you know, everything's ready for the evening, get the firewood out there, unload all the boats, but you know, when I noticed when we were pulling into this island that it was 10 feet deep right around this island, and I'm thinking, cold weather, this is probably where the fish are, so what better way to spend a couple hours of remaining light is just make a couple casts, see what's going on out here. I don't even know what I'm catching. I don't know if these are weak fish. I'm calling them weak fish. The cameraman's calling them silver trout. I don't know. They kept us busy. We were catching those and some small croaker, but it was a great way to spend the remaining light of the day. What do you say? Build that fire, get dinner going?
Yeah, let's go.
What a good day. We had some great homemade chili, made some chili dogs on the fire, you know, sat around, had some adult beverages, told some good stories, but it got late, you know, started to get pretty chilly outside. It was time to call it a night. The beauty of the Everglades I talk about during the day is something, but probably what most people don't experience is what happens out here after dark. You know, sitting around that campfire, the sun sets, and the amount of stars that are in the sky. You know, there's not a lot of light pollution down here, and you could just see every star in the sky. It was just such a breathtaking experience. We wake up at first light, we break all the tents down, clean up the whole site, and you know, the motto down here is you pack it in, you pack it out. So everything we brought, we packed back up, loaded the boats back up, loaded the camera boat up, and our plan was to switch gears today. Offshore just wasn't working yesterday, and Eduardo realized it. We decided, you know what, let's do what this place is known for. It's known for its backcountry fishing. So we decided we're gonna head back, way back up, look for some redfish and some snook. So offshore was a little slow yesterday. What do you think, change gears?
Yeah, we will, George. We're gonna be staying inshore. We're gonna see if we can catch some snook, redfish. We'll see what we can do.
Just banging around the back creeks?
Yes.
It's pretty cold, you know. Eduardo was on the cobia, you know, last week, but we had this cold front come through, water temperatures dropped into the 60s, and it just seems to shut the bite off. So just gonna adapt, change. You know, you gotta do that. You come down here, you make the trip down here, you just gotta, you know, switch gears and find the fish.
Exactly.
This segment is brought to you by Penn. Let the battle begin.
In today's seminar, I'm going to talk to you about basic navigation in a place like this, the Everglades National Park. They call this area the 10,000 Islands, and I promise you most of them look exactly alike. It's easy to get turned around and lose your way. Luckily enough, we have the Raymarine loaded up with the Navionics Platinum chip. Perfect for navigation, got us in, got us out. If you don't have something like that, you need to make sure you have a paper chart as well. You know, another thing to consider is when you come down here, you know, the 10,000 Islands area, you can be 30 miles away from the boat ramp. And realistically, this is almost, you know, even though you're surrounded by land, it's almost like being 30 miles offshore. Nobody's there to help you. You have no cell service. There's no towboats that are gonna come in there and get you. So you really need to plan accordingly. There's some pretty crazy stories of guys spending 3, 4, 5 nights way back, you know, in little creeks in the Everglades National Park. If you don't want that to happen to you, make sure you have some good charts, make sure you file a good float plan, maybe even a satellite phone to get a hold of somebody in case you get in trouble. A couple tips like that keep you out of trouble when you come to a place like this. Once again, I probably sound like a broken record on how beautiful this place is down here, but you know, running in the backcountry through the Everglades is, you know, through the mangrove shorelines, and just to get so far back up in here requires, you know, a good bit of local knowledge, but I just can't tell you how cool it is to get back here. We have to go through these creeks, I'm telling you, that the boat barely fits through. I promise you, probably I'm the first 24-foot bay boat that came back through this creek. Probably some skiffs, but not a big bay boat. I mean, we barely get back into this bay. It opens up, and this is the area that we're gonna be fishing, and this place does look fishy. I tell you what, it can't look any different from where we were yesterday.
Of course.
God, just that thin, narrow creek that we came through opened up into this back bay, and so much of the water up here. Look at the fish pushing. So much of it's like this. Throwing plugs first thing in the morning, trying to get bit. And really the reason to run way back up into these bays is that, you know, when it's so cold out in the wintertime, these bays, you know, they hold a lot of fish. And the reason for that is that deeper, darker water, it holds the heat better and it warms up quicker. So our plan was to get as far in the backcountry as we could, looking for the warmest water. There he is, under the trees.
There you go, fish. Oh. Wait, man.
Oh.
There you go.
God, he was tight, little snook. Man, but he was tight under those trees. I barely got him out. How crazy was that? God, little guy. Cold morning, man. Got been spitting up minnows. You know, they still got to eat. Water temperature is 64. It's gonna warm up in these back bays sooner. That muddy, dark water. It didn't take long after switching over to the jig and I got the first bite. Small snook, but I know, you know, it gave me a bit of confidence. I know the fish are back here and I'm confident that I can go along the shoreline and make a good day of it. So the second bite comes, and this is a good one. I was just bouncing the bottom with the jig and I had a solid thump. God, just let that thing sit on the bottom for a second. Red, big red.
Big old red.
Nose down, bulldogging. Wow. Ho, back here laid up. Look at that fish. Beautiful. Beautiful fish. Beautiful color he is. He's hooked good. Wow. Oh my God, offshore one day catching Goliaths, the next day back here in these creeks catching snook. Look at this redfish. Just came up and bounced in the bottom in a cold morning. Water temperature 63. I knew it'd be a little bit of a struggle, man, but wow. Just on the bottom, huh?
Yes.
Wow, what a great fish.
Little jig head.
Just ate that gulp. Oh, he's cold. Really dark, you know, back here in this dark water. Muddy bottom, he's just laying there, sitting on the bottom. That jig got to the bottom, I let it rest for a second, and I thought it actually got hung up. I got hung up all right, I got hung up on his red.
Sure you did.
Wow. Awesome fishery. Now this is why they call them redfish, and you can really see it back here in this dark tannic water. These fish are beautiful. The colors on them are incredible.
This segment is brought to you by Triton Boats by Earl Bentz. We take America fishing.
So how long have you been coming down here, fishing this area?
Been coming down here for the past 11 years, George.
Oh, and you're out of Miami?
Yes, I am.
So not too far of a drive.
It's about an hour and 20 minutes.
To go from a metropolis, concrete jungle to come down here to literally Everglades jungle. We're on a pattern now. You know, we're working these shorelines, bouncing the bottom. We're seeing fish up on some of the sandy shorelines as well. So we're confident this is a great area to be fishing. That's a good fish. Got him, dude. Good job. He's coming at you. That's not even the one we saw.
No, that's another one.
Nice. There's more in there. They're laid up in there. What you got there? Snook?
Yep.
There was a big one in there. That isn't even the one we saw.
There was another one down there.
God, I could spend all day back here doing
Oh,
this.
man.
There was one twice that size. I'm happy with this one. Just came up and inhaled that gulp. Cool.
Huh?
This is my favorite type of fishing. I've done a lot of different things, and be able to get back in these creeks like this, go along real slow, standing up on the Yeti, sight casting the fish on a bank, you know, back here in the Everglades. It feels like I'm discovering some new territory, like I'm the first person down this creek discovering these fish. I know I'm not, but I just can't get over that feeling that I'm the first one here. Snook or something. Oh, don't go that way. Don't go that way. Oh, you know what? It's another red, I bet. Where's fighting? Oh, don't go that way, don't go that way. 15-pound spider wire. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't do it. All right, the redfish, I'm sure the way he's fighting, down and dirty. Like the last one. I was just bumping that bottom again. Oh.
Another big old red.
God, how pretty that is. Look how pretty. You know, the offshore wasn't working. We took a risk, we changed gears. Said, you know what, let's go to the backcountry. I think we made the right choice.
We did.
You gotta adapt. Again, bouncing the jig. I like that jig, that's a 3/8 ounce jig. You know, that gives me the ability to get down to the bottom. Bottom feeding fish, generally. That's why that mouth's down turned like it is. Get a jig down the bottom on that cold morning, you know, he's just down there feeding like that. Look at the colors on the fins of this fish. God. It's like a bright orange. Drumming away, you can see why they call him a red drum. Pretty eyes on him. Let's let this one go. Go on, baby. So cold, doesn't he want to swim away? Woo! Eduardo.
Good job.
Man, what a great trip. So these are good sized redfish for this region. You know, they do have a lot of tarpon, a lot of snook, and some smaller reds, but these are quality fish. And to catch them in these small creeks back here with light tackle is just a bonus.
Fish.
Nice. What you got there?
I have a little snook.
I tell you what, man, what a place to come down and fish, camp, spend a weekend. Grouper offshore, big old Goliath we caught on a spinning rod. Beautiful redfish, snook. Great night of camping. Chukkalusky, 10,000 Islands did not disappoint on this trip. Down here in December, great time to be camping, nice and cool. What a great little fish. It's been a great time, man. Chukkalusky, Everglades National Park.
No problem, George,
December.
anytime.
Awesome time to be down here. Thanks for showing it to us. So we put our time in back in this creek and we got what we came for. We caught some snook, you know, we caught some beautiful redfish. You know, the day before offshore didn't materialize like we wanted it to, but we made the best of this trip. Getting out here in the Everglades and just experiencing it was just an accomplishment in itself, and didn't even have to catch a fish, and I had a great time. It was my second camping trip down to the Everglades, you know, and I discovered the fishery that Eduardo was on through the Florida Sportsman Facebook community, and it's just one aspect of the Florida Sportsman community. I tell you what, I'll be sure to come back. I'm probably gonna bring my kids down here, and this is a perfect place to bring the young ones and teach them everything that there is about old Florida. Drumming away. Talking to me. You're saying, welcome to the Everglades.